My name is Karl Karufel, and I am alongside the curator of topics, Mighty Joe, and welcome to another episode of Turnbuckle Talk. Mighty Joe, so much to go through here this week. This is exciting. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It is a good time to be a fan of professional wrestling.
Yeah, man, and it's good to have my actual namesake back. For those who do pay attention to what we do over on Love Wrestling, I was on the Blowing Off stream on Saturday, and when I inputted my name in for the show, well, the J and the H are right next to each other on the keyboard, and I accidentally hit the H. And I will apparently forever be known as the mighty piece of farm equipment.
Wow.
But I digress on that. But yeah, man, it's there's a lot to talk about in the world of professional wrestling. Lots of exciting things to go on. So I will let you introduce what we got going on here, because, like I said, there's a fair amount to cover.
There definitely is. So a lot of this stuff we may be going through super quick. Some of the stuff I will divulge that we have not seen fully, but we are going to talk about the best that we possibly can for these. And we're going to start with something that is a little foreign to a lot of people. AAA. Wow. Oh my goodness. The TripleMania 29. We just went through. Witness that. My goodness, Joe, this was a banger. You know what? To be honest, from beginning to end, as most Lucha Libre shows are, this was absolutely fantastic. From trios matches to 12-man matches to champion versus champion matches, just craziness going on here, and a really nice eclectic mix of, you know, the Lucha Libre wrestling along with North American wrestling and men and women and all over the place, and mind blown, dude.
For sure. It definitely appeared to be a pretty solid show from front to back. In full transparency, I did not watch the entire show. I did kind of like fast forward through. No, I didn't like skip past, but just like kind of like moved quickly through to get to essentially what was the main event for the show. That was the main attraction for myself. And of course, for that, we were talking about the defending champion Kenny Omega with Conan versus Andre El Idolo with a surprise there. It was, of course, for the AAA Mega Championship, which I believe is their main title, if I'm not mistaken. I'm a little bit behind on my AAA stuff. I haven't watched
believe
them
it is, yep,
in quite a long time. But Andrade did have a big surprise with him there, and as everybody is well aware, I am a fan of the big surprise, and boy, was this ever one. I believe his first appearance in Mexico. We're talking about the greatest of all time, in my personal opinion, and several's opinions as well. Mr. Ric Flair showed up. That is significant whenever the Nature Boy shows up anywhere, especially when it's outside of the WWE, which this was definitely the case.
I'm going to get this out right off the bat so that we can get this out of the way. I had somebody ask me a question. What if? Okay, so for those of you that don't know, Charlotte Flair actually missed a WWE show to be backstage for this matchup with Andrade, with her dad, Ric Flair, at ringside. Now, the what if comes from our good friend Bubba Duke, who asks, what if Andrade had won and Charlotte had made her way out to the ring to celebrate? What would have happened? What kind of repercussions do you think we could have seen? So, Joe, I want to get your quick take on that. And, tell me what you think about that question.
So I think that was clearly avoided. Not necessarily the win, but as far as I'm aware, Charlotte's contract does keep her exclusive to WWE, especially when it comes to appearances. So if she would have been seen on camera outside of maybe, like if they maybe showed her in the audience, I think maybe she would have been okay. But if it would have been like on the main camera, I think that would definitely qualify as a breach of contract. Now, whether that's because that's a pretty hot topic, and it's something we can have on the side here of what's going on with her, given that she has essentially missed a show to be in attendance. That's not out of the ordinary. But I mean, I would be very much interested in seeing her having a run outside of the WWE, whether it be with the NWA, AEW, Mexico as well. I mean, I think she would definitely be a name that a lot of people would be interested in. It's an interesting thing because both her and her dad, both her dad and her fiance to be there are spreading their wings elsewhere. She's the only one left in WWE kind of doing her thing. So it's interesting to see what could possibly become of that. Once contract times come up, which I don't know when for her, I could very well see her at the very, very least, Karl, explore options, listen to offers from other places, because I mean, she would be foolish not to. Would she not?
What I can see happening here is that the WWE is just biding their time, and that at some point when there is a little bit of a slip up, that is going to be their way for them to say goodbye, Charlotte Flair. Considering, like you said, Andrade is now gone. Ric Flair is gone from the company. She's the only Flair that is left there. So, I mean, sure, maybe she draws some money, We know that one of our friends, Mr. Vickery, there with the HTM Podcast Network, he loves his Shar. I get it, but maybe we'll see Shar somewhere else. And if we don't, I'm okay with that. Really good question. Thank you, Bubba Duke, for asking that a little earlier before the show came on, and I'm glad you did so that we could really discuss that a little bit here for you. The Kenny Omega and Andrade match, super fantastic. Yeah. And I mean, I want to talk a little bit here as well about this champion versus champion match for the AAA Championship and the Impact Knockouts Championship. Deonna Purrazzo defeating Fabi Apache. So now becoming a belt collector of her own, holding now the AAA Women's Championship as well as the Impact Knockouts Championship. Deonna Purrazzo is one of those names that from the very beginning when I saw her, I said, this girl has got something and she is going to go somewhere. And I am absolutely ecstatic that it is not within the WWE, that she is going somewhere to show other women and other people that you don't have to be part of the conglomerate to make a great name for yourself, hold championships, and make money.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You definitely nailed it with that. Also, Karl, we wanted to talk about this NJPW, New Japan Pro Wrestling Resurgence show that did not happen in Japan. It happened over in Los Angeles. But I will let you introduce it because I am stepping slightly on your toes here, Karl.
You did. You introduced it. Go for it. Talk about it.
I apologize. Happened in Los Angeles. They did a lot of business on this show here, Karl. I guess maybe that's why I hopped in, because I'm excited to talk about this particular one. So again, I do apologize for stepping on the host's toes here. But dude, this was a really, really good show top to bottom. We featured, as in traditional New Japan style, leading off with a lot of the young lions, which are, in this particular case, out of the LA Dojo, Alex Coughlin, Carl Fredericks. We even had Fred Rosser, Ren Narita, TJP, Rocker Romero, Wheeler Yuta, who's been making a big name for himself recently. And then we started to get into like the really kind of cool stuff here, Karl. We had Juice Robinson versus Hikuleo, which those of you who maybe are not aware is one of the sons of Haku. So some really, really good stuff there. It was a great match. The next one, I want to not say too much about because it's actually going to be my match of the week for this week, so I will skip past it.
Just forego it.
Yep. So we're then talking about the surprise for the evening. We had a tag team match between the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, and John Moxley in a surprise partner who ended up being a previous opponent of him, Mr. Yuji Nagata. That ended up being really, really good. That was a really good, solid tag team match. Then we had Jay White defeating David Finlay for the Never Openweight Championship. He successfully defended that. Jay White appears that he's going to be doing a lot of stuff with New Japan North America. He's essentially saying, you know what, I'm gonna like basically go after everything. So that was really, really cool. And then for the main event here, Karl, for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship, Hiroshi Tanahashi defeating Lance Archer. That's a big deal. And
yeah.
Now, of course, Tanahashi is a Grand Slam champion. He's held every title in New Japan Pro Wrestling, so that was a really, really cool thing. After the match, Lance Archer essentially giving Hiroshi Tanahashi props, saying that his previous matchups with him were some of his favorite of his career, saying that, the next time that he defends that championship, that Archer wants a rematch, and he wants it specifically in AEW, so we will definitely be seeing Tanahashi competing in an AEW ring because he's promising Lance Archer to make that happen. They had a back and forth there. Tanahashi actually speaking English, which was really, really cool as well. And Archer then leaving Tanahashi in the middle of the ring, and Tanahashi saying thank you to the fans in English. So it was really, really cool. They set up a lot of future business with this show, Karl, and just really great to see. We had a nice little size audience of just over 2,000 at the Torch LA Coliseum there in Los Angeles. So it was a really well done show, and for me, just accomplished a lot because we set up a lot of kind of things going forward. So really well done for this essentially New Japan North America show that was actually with all the personnel involved. It's essentially co-promoted with Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling, All Elite Wrestling, Major League Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, talent involved. Wow, I said a lot there because a lot happened.
and that's absolutely fantastic. Like I said at the beginning of the show, it's a good time to be a fan of professional wrestling right now. It's a good time for you to branch out and witness some other stuff besides the conglomerate that is out there, and I'm sure you will not be disappointed, as we have not been disappointed with Resurgence and fans at Resurgence, as well as TripleMania 29, with fans in attendance. Absolutely amazing that the fans are all able to start coming back to the shows. It has been glorious to see that.
The only company that I've seen so far, now correct me if I'm wrong, because I think you watched a little bit of Ring of Honor as well, that they seem to be really one of the only major companies that is still choosing to do shows without a crowd. An interesting choice. It's definitely setting them apart from everybody else, but I think it's also having them lag behind a little bit. So curious and anxious to see when we'll have fans back in attendance for Ring of Honor shows, because, I mean, the audience is a big part of the Ring of Honor experience, Karl.
It definitely is. For the longest time, I didn't think that it was really going to matter too much, because all I wanted was some amazing professional wrestling, which, yes, during 2020 and the early part of 2021 we did get, but I was starting to miss the fans, to be honest with you. Yep. Now, I will say that I have not been keeping up too much on my Ring of Honor lately, so I'm not 100% sure if they do have fans back in attendance or not. But even if they don't, I mean, still, Ring of Honor puts on a good show no matter what. So, again, YouTube, people. YouTube will get you a plethora of professional wrestling that is out there for you to watch. It is absolutely fantastic. This is great, and I love this. I love being able to talk about wrestling. It's just fantastic that we have all of this to be able to talk about it. It is absolutely amazing to be able to do. Let's talk some more professional wrestling here. Like we said, we were going to go through quickly those two pay-per-views because, one, I did not get to see Resurgence, and I only got to see part of TripleMania. Mm-hmm. Joe got to watch pretty much the entirety of Resurgence and only the main event from TripleMania. So we tag teamed that one, brother.
Absolutely.
All right. Now we're going to move on to something that a lot of people are really talking about and just weird speculations and weird things coming from this right now. It's just kind of odd, but we're talking SummerSlam.
Yes.
Now, SummerSlam will be happening on a Saturday,
which is
instead
unusual.
of the Sunday, which is really different. It's absolutely different for that to happen. And the NXT pay-per-view is going to be on the Sunday. So WWE really throwing a monkey wrench into things there. I don't know why, but maybe they feel that more people will watch on the Saturday because the Sunday you have to go back to work on Monday. That could very well be, but August 21st is coming up to SummerSlam. Now, I got to ask you, Joe, are you excited for SummerSlam?
So, I want to.
I'm taking that as a no.
I want to preface it with this because I want the show to be good because because it's number one. It's on my birthday. August 21st is the birthday for Mighty Joe. Our friends Spencer Love and Mr. Joseph Poulin Jr. will actually be in attendance there as well. So hoping for them that it'll be a good show because they're traveling, especially JPJ is traveling a long way to come to see the show all the way from Massachusetts. So, but having said that here, Karl, the first thing you had mentioned NXT being the Sunday show, a very puzzling decision considering that Vince is currently looking at essentially making NXT pure developmental again. So this just doesn't really reflect that direction, which is kind of confusing from my end here. And I mean, even our podcast here, Karl, we let off with AAA and New Japan Pro Wrestling. All the stuff outside the WWE seems to be stealing a lot of the attention. There are some good matchups on SummerSlam here, but admittedly, I do not watch the product on a regular basis, so that's my fault. But I don't really have a whole lot of emotional investment in really any of this, except for maybe Cena and Roman Reigns. I mean, that's a matchup I'm interested in.
So I'm going to run through the card here super quick then. And what I want you to do, Mighty Joe, is I want you to give me a care or don't care when we talk about this. But before I run through this card, Bubba Duke, hello, brother. Thank you very much again for your question at the very beginning of the show that we had there. Absolutely fantastic. If you were not able to see it, catch the replay when it happens and you will get to hear your question being asked live. Anyone else that is out there, our amazing fans and supporters, thank you so much. And if any of you have questions, always make sure that you send them over to us at TB Talk Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Now let's get into the card for SummerSlam 2021. And like I said, Mighty Joe, just give me a care or don't care. First matchup that they have listed in no particular order, I assume. I'm taking this from Wikipedia. We're going to have Nikki ASH, the champion, versus Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley in a triple threat match for the WWE Raw Women's Championship.
Not so much not caring. I'm not totally stoked for the match, but I will watch it.
Okay, that's a little longer than care and don't care.
It's honestly
Next
how I
we
feel.
have got right. No, I get it. It's hard. It's hard just to say care or don't care because there's so many different emotions that are running through all of that. 100%. I get it. It's definitely hard. Bubba Duke on there as well. He cares about this matchup, and I know he does because he is a fan of Nikki ASH as well. He's kind of a fan of Rhea Ripley too. So it's been really good for him for the build up for this here. Next matchup we've got is a singles matchup for the WWE Universal Championship. Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman going up against John Cena. We already know that Mighty Joe has said that this one, he actually has a little bit of a vested interest in this one.
Yep.
And you know what? I do too. I'm not a Cena fan. I'm not a Roman Reigns fan. But this matchup, I think, is going to be great.
Yep. It's definitely one that I'm interested in. I hope it ends the show off. It should be their main event, but it is WWE, so knowing them, they might lead off with that match.
It's very possible. Next in the list here, we have got a singles match for the WWE Championship of the World. We have got Bobby Lashley with MVP going up against Goldberg. Joe, care or don't care? That says it all. For those of you that are listening to this, he is just simply shaking his head and saying, nope, 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 nope.
They just dumped a whole bunch of talent, and now we have Goldberg in a title match. I don't care. Sorry, not sorry.
Our good friend Bubba Duke says he doesn't care either. You know what? I am in that exact same boat. I do actually like Bobby Lashley.
Sure.
I do. I think he's a good worker. I think he always has been. But to throw Goldberg in there is pure and utter bullshit. Plain English, I said it.
Yep.
Let's move on to the next matchup. We've got a tag team match for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships. The Usos taking on Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio, father-son duo going for the tag team championships. Mighty Joe, care or don't care?
I like all the individuals in the matches in that match, but it's happened so many times. I've seen it a few times now. I'm kind of done with it. I love the Usos. I think they're one of the best tag teams on the planet, but I have zero emotional investment.
Just like Bubba Duke, I actually kind of care about this matchup. I know that we have seen it numerous times, whether it be singles competition, whether it be in tag team competition as well. But I'm hoping that this is going to be the final out, that this is going to just be it. That whether, the Mysterios win or lose, that one way or another, we're going to move on to different storylines. That's what I'm hoping. Next up on this list, we have got singles match for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. My goodness, we have got Bianca Belair, the champion, taking on Sasha Banks. This looks like it is going to be a great, intense matchup. I care about this one. Mighty Joe, care or don't care?
Me too. That's a thumbs up for me. I care about that match, and I hope that it's good and they do some creative stuff there. Absolutely.
I definitely. I mean, both of those competitors can really do amazing stuff inside of that ring. They definitely can. The hair whip that Bianca has got going on there, I love it. I love it. Using what is built on you to your advantage. I say that the hair and that the whipping with the hair is just the same as if Earthquake were to jump on your chest. Same thing. Bubba Duke, he says he cares about this matchup as well. We have just a singles matchup coming up next year. We have Edge versus Seth Rollins. Mighty Joe, I'll let you go first on this one. Tell me, do you care about this or do you don't care?
It's one that I'm kind of on the fence of because I know, like, on paper, it looks like a great matchup, and I know that it will be good. And I just hope that it either kind of concludes things or it's moving things forward, and that's really all I want. I'm a fan of both guys, and I just hope that they pull out a good match. That's all I want. That's all I want from any of these matches. Just be good, be solid, and move things forward or bring things to a conclusion.
Bubba Duke giving a hardcore answer here. Don't care at all.
Ouch.
I actually do care about this a little bit, just knowing what we have seen from Edge and Randy Orton, now coming Edge and Seth Rollins. I personally kind of put Seth Rollins in that same almost echelon as Randy Orton. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be a fantastic matchup, and I know what Edge can do. I've watched Edge for years, so I totally get it and understand what he can do. Next matchup here that we've got, I will save that one. I'll go to the next one. Another just singles match going on here. We've got Drew McIntyre taking on Jinder Mahal, who will have Veer and Shanky at ringside with him. Just a singles matchup. Care or don't care, Joe?
I'm on the fence on this one too. I think it's the matchup is good. Both guys are fantastic. Jinder Mahal, Drew McIntyre, fantastic. But without really anything at stake here or on the line, it makes it a tough sell. With actually some kind of, not necessarily stipulation I'm looking for, but if there were actual stakes on the match, then I would definitely care. But don't care, not really care. That one I'm really solidly on the fence, but just hope that it's a good match and that maybe it can lead to something that actually then something could be on the line or at stake.
I love both of these workers, but I just don't freaking care.
There you go.
I really don't. They haven't built it enough for me to care, so I don't care at all. Bubba Duke coming in with his answer here. Can't wait for this match. Super care. I do know that Bubba Duke is a fan of Drew McIntyre, so that's probably where that super care is coming from. Absolutely fantastic. Lastly, not Lashley, not the Bobby, lastly, on the card that we are aware of right now, we have got a singles match once again for the WWE United States Championship. We have got... Okay, I care about this. I'm going to say it right now. I care about this. This is going to be a freaking banger of a matchup. Yeah. We have got Sheamus taking on Damian Priest. Yep. My answer's been given. Mighty Joe, give me yours.
I care about this one as well. There is something at stake here. There's something on the line. I'm a big fan of both guys. This is the opportunity, Karl, everybody listening, to finally put Damian Priest over, and you put him over strong, because they have stumbled with him of making him look like a fool, making him look like an idiot. He's somebody that should never be put in that position. You latch on to Damian Priest and you put him over to the moon, and you launch to that rocket ship and you take him as high as you can go.
Bubba Duke saying that he super cares about this matchup. Yes, it is about time that something goes in Damian Priest's favor. I look at it like this. Why does Omos have a tag team champion? Why does Omos have a championship and Damian Priest hasn't yet? Yeah. Unfreaking believable. Don't like that at all. There you go, everybody. Thank you, Bubba Duke, for chiming in there with us. We absolutely love when you guys are interacting with us and you guys give us answers to whatever we are talking about. It is super fantastic. Can't thank you guys enough. And if you are watching this if you're watching the replay or listening to it on Podbean, please leave your comments as well. Find the video, find the show on Facebook, and leave your comments in there. We love seeing them. We love interacting with them. So please, go ahead, do it. Because we want to know your opinions. Do you care or you don't care about this SummerSlam card?
Absolutely.
Man, this is... Give me a second here, please.
He needs a moment, folks. Needs a moment.
That was a lot of talking going on there. And I had to have a drink of our non-sponsored Dr. Pepper. Absolutely fantastic. We're going to do things a little bit differently this week. Normally, this is about the time that we would have a commercial break. But Mighty Joe, I can see it. I can feel it. Even though you're thousands of kilometers away from me, I can feel you're itching to talk about this. So you know what we have to do right now, Joe? You know what we have to do? I think we have to talk about our match of the week. That's right, everybody. Mighty Joe left something off of the card from Resurgence to actually talk about that. Mighty Joe, the floor is yours. Please tell us about this matchup and your match of the week.
For sure. Like I said, usually my favorite matches are usually between two great competitors when there's something on the line. Professional wrestling matches are usually at their best when that's the case. This is an example of that not being the case, but me still really loving the match here. Left this off when we talked about Resurgence here, Karl, but my match of the week is coming from New Japan Pro Wrestling Resurgence from Los Angeles. We're talking about just a singles match between these two guys, Tomohiro Ishii and Moose. If you have the opportunity to watch this match, do yourself a favor and do so. It's the type of matchup that I love. Just two guys just leaving it all in that ring, man. It wasn't too long of a match. It wasn't short, right around the 16-minute mark. This is a contender for Turnbuckle Rewind at some point in our future here. Is that good?
Wow.
Just go and check it out. I mean, both guys are fantastic by themselves, but thrown together, this is actually only the second time these two gentlemen have met each other. New Japan Pro Wrestling versus Impact Wrestling, man. That's what this match was. And both guys just killing it in this match. Just absolutely fantastic. Like I said, just go and watch it. I can't, praise it. I can't praise it anymore. It's just a damn good, no BS wrestling match. You just need to go watch it, people.
From all of the other professional wrestling that I have watched during this past week, whether it was stuff from our friends with Canadian Wrestling's Elite to our friends at Ignite Wrestling, it has all come down to this matchup here. Kenny Omega versus Andrade from TripleMania.
Good choice.
Like, oh, my goodness. This was just from start to finish absolutely fantastic. Kenny Omega having Conan ringside with him. Yep. Andrade having Ric Flair ringside with him. Even the super quick, small, little inclusion of Ric Flair and Conan inside that ring was absolutely fantastic. It helped build and finish that matchup, and I wasn't pissed off that the referee wasn't getting these people out. I understand the referee was knocked out, kayfabe, right? I understand that, but still, they allowed just a small little snippet to happen, and to see that double figure 4, it was cool, man. It was freaking cool. Now to go through and see how the match finished, classic Kenny Omega style happening here with the inclusion of the AAA Championship belt, as well as the One-Winged Angel onto that championship belt. Wow. Just absolutely fantastic.
Now, I do have an honorable mention this week here, Karl, that I want to make note of as well. And it happened on the debut episode of AEW Rampage.
Hold on one moment. Because I think we may have had a double. We got our friend Bubba Duke. Yeah. Take a look at the comments there. Is that the same?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, you talk about it and I'll put it up here.
Yeah. I have to make mention of it. I do feel that maybe it should have ended the show instead of leading it off, but that is subjective and up for debate. Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage for the Impact and the TNA Championship. Just a great back and forth match with those guys. Christian Cage actually beating Kenny for the Impact and TNA Championships. So interesting to see that going forward. And this will actually tie into our Showstopper segment for this week's episode as well. I'm going to give my thoughts on that. But I thought in itself a great match and cool to see Christian holding those titles. Just a great matchup, and ended in a kind of classic way too. And we had Mr. Don Callis involved, shenanigans at ringside. It was a good, solid match, and started off that Rampage show with a banger.
Definitely, it did. And again, okay, so we've had my opinion, we've had Mighty Joe's opinion, and then we even had Bubba Duke's opinion. And they were all different for the best match personally for the week. That is how amazing it is for professional wrestling right now, because years ago, it would have been everybody's pick was the same matchup from the same show because there was hardly any shows and any matchups happening. But we have so much now that it is absolutely fantastic. You know what else is fantastic? Our friends over at Collar and Elbow, they are absolutely fantastic. Those guys are killing it each and every day with their merchandise that they have. And something that I love about this brand as well is that they help those families of fallen professional wrestlers. It is absolutely fantastic. Let's take a little bit of a commercial break here and listen in to our good friend Al Snow talk about Collar and Elbow brand.
Wrestling, a love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand, the wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
The dictionary defines hero as a person who is admired or idealized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. Being a hero in life is far more than words printed on a page. It takes an unwavering code, a compass that points true north, always. And in times like these, it takes sacrifice. Hero shouldn't be a word defined by a dictionary. It's a word that should be defined by the best of us. Hero has a new definition.
Hi, my name's Barry Ratcliffe. You might recognize me from such films as The Longest Ride or Ted 2. Now, as a successful actor, I have 2 planes, a supermodel wife, countless exotic cars, and a ton of cash. You might think it couldn't get any better than this, but you'd be wrong. For only $4.99, you could get OVWWrestlingNetwork.com. That's OVWWrestlingNetwork.com for only $4.99. Now, will your life be as good as this? No. Will it be better? Yes, and I guarantee that. That's not valid anywhere. OVWWrestlingNetwork.com is only $4.99. Tomorrow's yesterday is today. Prices so low, they're insane. What? Bang for your butt? Well, so do I. At OVWWrestlingNetwork.com, it's only $4.99 a month. In between excitement, me too. OVWWrestlingNetwork.com is only $4.99 a month. You get that incredible value. She cost me $17 million, and I loved it. Want a real value? OVWWrestlingNetwork.com. It's only $4.99. That's a price so low. Well, it's insane.
Yeah, welcome back, my friends and fans, to Turnbuckle Talk with myself, Karl Karufel, and the curator of topics, Mighty Joe. Yes, Mighty Joe. It's written right there properly.
Thank you for getting that right.
Yeah. Absolutely fantastic stuff there from Collar and Elbow. If you guys have not checked out Collar and Elbow brand, please go over to collarandelbowbrand.com. You can see in the ticker down below. Check out what they've got there. And no matter if you put anything from brand new merchandise to clearance merchandise to signature series merchandise, no matter what it is, please go find something. And if you like it, buy it. But when you do, at the end, you're going to use our promo code JK Podcast and get yourself 10% off your entire purchase. Very special deal for our friends and our fans, and I absolutely love it. Now, what did I just see? Coming from Chris Parrish. Chris, it's good to see you. Love you, man. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you're talking about the wonderful OVW commercial for the OVWnetwork.com, where you can subscribe for only $4.99 a month and you can see everything OVW wrestling. That is by far one of the best. It's actually 2 commercials that we play back to back. 2 of the best commercials that I have ever witnessed in my life. Gets me pumped up every single time I see it. I absolutely love it. Mighty Joe, you got anything to add into that?
You said it all very well. And okay. I have really nothing to add because I think that I would be taking away from things if I say anything more, because I think you worded it just perfectly.
Thank you very much for that. Let's move on to some breaking news. Mighty Joe, with all of the professional wrestling that has been happening over this last week, there's got to be something for some breaking news, and I've got a little piece that I want to talk about here, and I'm sure, I hope you have something as well. You're nodding your head yes, so that means yes.
Hopefully it's not the same thing.
Hopefully not. Mine's going to be talking a little bit about Ric Flair. Okay. So Ric Flair apparently attacked Kenny Omega with Andrade at TripleMania. Coming out of that, Kenny Omega then cuts a promo and says, Andrade, you have now made things personal, and I wish I would have V-triggered Ric Flair in the face. So that is now telling me that this is not a feud that is going to end, that we are going to continue to see Andrade and Kenny Omega in some matchups, whether it's down in AAA, whether it is in AEW, I don't care where it's happening. I honestly just want to see more. And this is definitely telling me that they are setting stuff up for more. Fantastic. Yeah. Mighty Joe, what do you have?
Mine is coming from the WWE, specifically with a matchup set up to happen at SummerSlam. We're talking about Sasha and Bianca Belair. There is some speculation here, Karl, that this matchup will not happen at SummerSlam because they were typically, well, not recently because of COVID, just saying it. Live events happen all the time, and typically leading up to a big show like this, they do what is, I guess, maybe an inside term referred to as a dry run match, where essentially we have the match set to happen in front of a live audience or at these live events to kind of just gauge the reaction from the audience and just make sure that the two have some chemistry together and whatnot. That didn't happen leading up to this, and due to what they are just purely referring to as unforeseen circumstances, nothing specific, just that both of them apparently were not able to compete at a live event in Columbia, South Carolina before SummerSlam here. So what exactly is going on with either or both of these girls leading up to the show, I have absolutely no idea, but it looks like this match might be kind of up in the air. So I'll be curious to see what happens because it's actually one of the matches I'm looking forward to. So hopefully it actually happens because that's a big one taken out of there if that's the case. So sucks.
It definitely does. Quick little thing to mention, if you did not see AEW Dynamite last week, you don't know this, and we'll let you know that Chris Jericho, yes, made it through the fourth installment of MJF's wishes and things that have been going on here. And we are now live on Wednesday on TNT going to finally get MJF versus Chris Jericho. Now, the stipulations for this matchup seem a little odd to me, but so Jericho is going to come out to absolutely no music. Which he's going to be coming out to music because the crowd is just going to sing his theme song, guaranteed. As well, there will be no use of the Judas effect. This is something that could be very pivotal in that matchup, but we all know Chris Jericho has 1,001 holds. He even had an entire list that he read out on WCW at one time. So, yeah. I'm not too worried about that, but yeah, I mean that's something that's actually pretty cool. I'm finally happy to see that this is coming to fruition. I'm cool with it. You have anything else for breaking news this week?
Not necessarily that I can see of. I'm just kind of combing through the sources that I usually look at here, and not seeing too much else that I think is worth mentioning. Like I said, that Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair thing was the one I definitely wanted to make mention of, and like I said, hopefully that they can actually make that match happen because it is one of the few that I'm actually interested in.
Perfect. With that being said, things are a little bit out of order here this week, but screw it, we're doing it anyways. It's now time for our Showstopper segment. Wow.
Yeah.
I do have to correct myself here. Actually, no, Mr. Chris Parrish has corrected me here. It is actually now 1,002 holds after he added the code breaker after that list. I stand corrected. Thank you, good sir. I appreciate that. So we've seen a lot of matches happening lately that have been not specifically AEW, not specifically New Japan, not specifically AAA, not specifically NWA. We've been seeing a lot of mixture between the companies going into matchups and collaborations and workings togethers. And oh my God, that forbidden door was opened.
Wide open.
wide open. And the traffic has been traveling through it nice and smoothly, which is fantastic. But we come to a question here for our Showstopper segment that has been on a lot of people's minds, and I'm glad that the curator decided to use this week here. The forbidden door being open. Is it good or is it bad for all of these wrestling promotions? Mighty Joe, give me your thoughts on this. Do you feel that it is a good thing, or is this going to be a bad thing?
Yes to both. And I will explain myself here. I think it's good and bad. So, like I said, specifically earlier, New Japan Pro Wrestling Resurgence. I mean, we had people from New Japan, Ring of Honor, Impact, All Elite, Major League Wrestling, and New Japan in that. Great to see. And I love seeing dream matchups and people crossing paths that you wouldn't normally see and all that kind of stuff. I think that kind of stuff is great. But at the same time, as a wrestling promotion, collaboration is great. Like even like outside of pro wrestling, like whether you're a podcast, whether you're a business of any kind, co-promotion and stuff like that is great. But at the same time too, you do still need to concentrate on your product and get that out for people to wear that. Otherwise, the other person may get more attention than you do. And I think we're seeing a little bit of that here. I think specifically the partnership with AEW and Impact.
Okay.
It's great that all of these Impact wrestlers are getting exposure on AEW. It's fantastic. But is Impact actually benefiting from this? Like, are people actually going over to the Impact product because they've seen Impact talent on AEW? And that's a tough question, because I think that you can make the argument that I think for seeing them enough on AEW, why do I need to go elsewhere to watch them? I think we're having that little bit of effect, right? It's a great benefit for AEW, but I just fear that long term that maybe this isn't a great deal for Impact Wrestling. I know I'm just kind of focusing in on those two, but I mean, that's the big partnership that's kind of happening. Did you feel the same way, or am I maybe not seeing this right?
From the feedback that I have received from a number of different friends who really have only been conglomerate watchers, and then when AEW came in, they started watching a little bit of AEW because it was something different on national television. But now seeing that all these other workers and championships being shown on all these different companies has actually made them go and watch and want to see what those other promotions have to offer, which is, for me, absolutely fantastic, because now I have more people that I can talk professional wrestling with, which is fantastic. And even more fantastic for those promotions as well, who are getting the view rates because of these partnerships that have been happening. Yes, I know the NWA, unfortunately, it's a little harder to be able to see the actual power show unless you're paying for it, but they do extra power and put it out on YouTube for free. Yeah. So they still have content that's out there, and even those watch views have slightly gone up over the last several weeks, which is mind-blowing. But you're right. Companies coming together to work together over the same product has been absolutely, for me anyways, and for my friends that have talked to me about it, has been absolutely amazing, and has really brought togetherness and is really starting to, I've said it before, I'll say it again, it is starting to make wrestling great again. Wow.
But my concern is that we have a little bit of the Ring of Honor New Japan type of thing happen, where one or both sides starts to feel like one is benefiting more than the other. It needs to be kind of more like, I want to see like I said, great that the Impact Wrestling stars are getting the showcase on AEW, but at some point, AEW's got to reciprocate and be like, okay, we're going to have somebody go and defend the TNT title over on an Impact show, like a Darby Allin versus, say, like a whoever, one of their smaller guys, more like cruiserweight style guys over in Impact. Like that kind of stuff needs to kind of happen so it's an equal thing, so that over time some dissension doesn't start to occur, right? Because like I said, partnership and stuff is great, but if it's not an equal back and forth, eventually somebody's going to feel slighted. I mean, that's just an eventuality, right? We saw that with the Ring of Honor New Japan situation. That's been repaired a little bit over time, thankfully, because we end up with the War of the Worlds tour, which I got to go see in Toronto. It's absolutely fantastic, but we got to be careful. Like I said, cross promotion is a fantastic thing across the board. Like even doing what we do, that stuff is great, but It needs to be something that's a two-way street. That's the main point that I want to get across.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So for everyone here at Turnbuckle Talk, we've got some exciting things coming down the pipe, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic, not only for you, but for us as well. I am super excited for things that are happening here. This week, we're going to leave on something a little bit different. We're going to watch just a little bit of a video clip with some of the most amazing female talents in the professional wrestling business, and they're going to be talking about what wrestling means to them. So for Mighty Joe and myself, thank you so much once again for tuning in to today's episode of Turnbuckle Talk. You all are amazing, and enjoy.
Wrestling.
What does wrestling mean to me?
It's something I always wanted. Always.
What wrestling means to me is an escape.
What does professional wrestling mean to me? It means life.
All my life, I've been hearing impaired. I've been struggling with my voice and my hearing. Wrestling means so much to me because when I'm in the ring, I'm not that girl who can't hear. I'm not that girl who speaks a little differently.
I guess what wrestling really means to me is freedom.
Growing up, I always wanted to be more like the other girls, a bit smaller, a bit more petite. I didn't feel like I fitted in until I found pro wrestling, and then suddenly there was somewhere that I did fit in.
What does pro wrestling mean to me? It means family.
Professional wrestling to me means strength, not just physical strength, but emotional and mental strength. Having the strength to go out there and show the world who you are.
In the real world, I have to hide. I have to fake. I have to put on a mask. But in wrestling, I can be strong or I can be weak.
Wrestling to me means life. It's my life. It's everything I know. It's everything I do. I wake up and go to sleep and I breathe wrestling. I am wrestling.
Believe. That's what wrestling means to me.
Discipline, sacrifice, and devotion.
Wrestling was always my dream since I was little, and I come from a little country in Italy, a very small town, and nobody believed that I was able to leave Italy and come in America and train hard to be a professional wrestler. But that was I did.
So what wrestling means to me is passion.
And wrestling truly to me means empowerment and fun, because I don't have a better time than when I'm in that ring.
Professional wrestling has brought me so much joy. I just can't even put it into words sometimes.
Wrestling to me is the biggest constant in my life. Everything I do revolves around it. My diet, my training, in the gym, in the ring, whatever have you.
Wrestling means to me is that it's something that you can express yourself with without any judgment.
For me, I want women's wrestling to not be women's wrestling. I want it to be wrestling.
It's shown me strength and courage and power and to be completely untouchable.
Plain and simple, what professional wrestling means to me is everything. I wouldn't give up what I do on a nightly basis for anything else in this world.
Wrestling is freedom, and I am born free.
Collar and elbow. the wrestling brand.
And there you have it. Some amazing things there from some great female professional wrestlers about what wrestling means to them. And yes, I fully agree. Near the end of that clip, I don't want it to be men's wrestling. I don't want it to be women's wrestling. I want it just to be known as wrestling. Because, yeah, we love professional wrestling. Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely fantastic. I'm glad that we had a little bit of extra time this week to be able to show that to all of you, because it is absolutely one of my favorite pieces that we have to play on this show. Mighty Joe, please tell us what we have coming up over on our other show, Turnbuckle Rewind, coming up this week.
This is one here, Karl, that seems to be getting people really interested. I know that I've dropped it a few times on some of the other shows that I've been on. We're going back to 2005's Unbreakable show for Impact Wrestling for the X Division Championship. AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe versus Christopher Daniels. When you combine these three gentlemen to a match, it is not going to disappoint. And this is going to be a pleasure to talk about this. It's going to be a pleasure to watch the match that I haven't watched in literally years. And I think all of our viewers and listeners are really going to enjoy this one, because I've already been told so that people are looking forward to this one. So you guys are in for a treat.
That is right. Coming up this Wednesday, you can find that as well as a plethora of other professional wrestling content over with our friends at Love Wrestling at lovewrestling.ca. Quickly, we tell you once again about our sponsors, collarandelbowbrand.com. You've heard a lot from Collar and Elbow Brand today on this show. Please go and take a look and support them. Every little piece of merchandise that you buy when using our promo code helps support this podcast as well. So you're getting great merchandise and supporting this podcast. It's a win-win for everyone. As well, our friends over at Phoenix at fnxfit.com, where if you were looking for health supplements for working out and even some really cool workout gear, go and check out fnxfit.com, and you can use our promo code TBTalkPod over there, and you're going to get yourself 15% off your entire purchase. We are found on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter by searching at TBTalkPod. Make sure you go and follow those for all the content that we put out. Sometimes we're a little laxed with it, but we both have some kayfabe jobs that we got to do, so we try to put out as much as we possibly can when we can.
Yep. And speaking of other content, just wanted to add one more plug before we head out for today here, Karl, because, of course, we are as well part of the Hitting the Marks podcast network, where this past week I actually got to sit down on Destino with Mr. Michael Jargo and Mr. Billy Ray Valentine to break down the Wrestle Grand Slam from the Tokyo Dome. That was a lot of fun, and now it's going to be coming out soon. I know Jargo is, like us, very, very busy with real life, so he is going to get that up, and as soon as it is available, I'll be sharing it out, because it was an absolute treat to sit down with those two gentlemen to talk about a really, really good show that happened at New Japan.
And where can we find that?
It'll be at hittingthemarks.com as soon as it's up. Like I said, as soon as Jargo puts it out there, I will share it out for everybody.
Sounds good. Mighty Joe, anything else for our wonderful, amazing fans and supporters today?
Just thanks for everybody for tuning in. And again, like 232 episodes of Turnbuckle Talk. Dude, it's a pleasure to sit down with you every single week to talk about professional wrestling. And again, it's a great time to be a fan. There's a lot kind of going on, and just reminds us more and more why we do this, because, well, we love wrestling.
We definitely do. Thank you so much to everybody once again for tuning in. This has been absolutely fantastic. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Until next time, I am Karl Karufel. That over there is Mighty Joe, and thanks for watching.
It's me. It's an R&B to beat. As you can tell in the background, we are out celebrating. That is what we do here at HittingTheMarks.com. And I invite everyone to continue to tune in to Turnbuckle Talk, but check out all of our other shows. We have weekly content, especially lit up by the flagship show. You can find that all at HittingTheMarks.com.
Run.